Maycee Barber, she got the job done, 30-27 across the board, unanimous decision. But I think that this fight was closer than what the numbers appear. I said Montana De La Rosa is a sleeper fighter, that she is someone who I think is going to make a lot of noise because of the experience she has, her length. They basically were carbon copies of each other, except Maycee Barber was shorter and stouter and thicker and stronger, and Montana De La Rosa was longer and lankier and... yeah, that's basically the intangibles that I have. Not intangibles, but the characteristics, I guess I should say. But both of them want to walk forward, they want to strike, and they want to grapple each other. So there was a lot of clinch work on the fence and clinch work and reversal. So they're like this way on the flinch, then reverse, then reverse, then reverse, and then we get to the ground, and then we're here and we're there. When it comes down to takedowns, let's pull out some numbers. Maycee Barber, she is 1-4 on her takedowns, and Montana De La Rosa was 1-2 on her takedowns. No submission attempts by either fighter. Significant strikes. Maycee Barber lands 50. Montana De La Rosa lands 14. So clearly, Maycee Barber was busier, landed the bigger shots, landed the more effective dirty boxing and more effective ground and pound. But De La Rosa, man, this is just tough, man, just because I think she's such a talented fighter. Either way, Maycee Barber takes another step forward in the division, which is all she can do right now. Yeah, her growth and her trajectory has been slowed a little bit, but she's still moving forward, and that's the big key, man. What do you take away from this victory right here? Is this, oh, well, you're supposed to do that anyway, so it is what it is, or is this more of a scenario of, okay, you're proving to us again that you are the real deal, let's see where you can go next?
Yeah, this is an interesting one for me because as much of a good fight this was, a kind of grinding fight, like a fight you'll learn a lot from as both fighters, both Barber and Montana De La Rosa. My biggest thing is as good of a fighter we've seen Maycee Barber kind of come into the UFC, and she starts off, was it Hannah Cyphers?
Yep.
No, she in the contender series, man. She starts off in the contender series, and then the big one in the UFC, steps in her UFC debut against Hannah Cyphers, JJ Aldrich, Jillian Robertson, starts just running through girls. She was really, really good, man. She was talking about being the future champs. Very impressive. And I like what you said there, Derek. Kind of the growth has been not necessarily stopped, but stunted for Maycee Barber, especially after she tore her ACL. She went on that 2-fight losing streak, but the growth since then hasn't been as impressive, at least to me, and kind of on the eye test, as her first 3 wins in the UFC. These last 2, not as impressive. And is this is going to be a weird question, but do you put any account or any blame on Team Alpha Male for not making her more of a grinding wrestling fighter that's kind of boring and more of their style, and less of who she is as an impactful, explosive style? And is that why the growth has stunted, or is this more of a something else that I'm not seeing? Because I kind of put a little bit of the blame in Team Alpha Male for making her not necessarily a boring fighter, but a grinder now. She's a grinder now. She's always had that kind of mentality, but she's usually been more flashy, more exciting, getting the fights done. Where now her 2 unanimous or 2 decisions, where she used to be ground and pound, knees and punches. What do you think?
Well, what I take away from this is that Maycee Barber is obviously going to dictate what she wants to do in the fight. Uriah Faber and Team Alpha Male can only do so much. You look at the other Team Alpha Male fighters, and they are absolute grinders, wrestlers, right? So this is kind of the whole entire protocol from this camp. We already know this. I think for Maycee Barber, being a young 23 years old, but having the experience and mentality of a chiseled vet at this point, I think that she's taken her career into her own hands and saying, well, if I have to take a step back from that crazy ground and pound, swinging like a gorilla approach, then I will, if it means I get the victory, because that's the only thing that matters. She had a countdown timer on her phone for her being the youngest champion in UFC history. Now that wish is gone, that dream is gone. All you can do is be a professional and move forward in your career. So I think that she's probably if I had to do a percentage, 70% Maycee Barber, 30% Team Alpha Male, right? Because Team Alpha Male, at the end of the day, they just try to put a win on the board. You know what I mean? So Maycee Barber, let's rack those wins up. It's not as exciting. You don't have as much steam, right? I don't even think she has as much steam as a Miranda Maverick right now, even though Miranda Maverick is kind of slowed in her trajectory as well. I still think that the long game, right? The long con that you got going on here is that she's only 23 years old. So let her grow for another 2-3 years, brother. I don't imagine she wouldn't have fought for a title, or I'm speaking in the future, right? I think she will have fought for a title by the age of 25, 26, at least. You know what I mean? And if not, guess what? You're only 26. You got a shelf life up to 30 plus in this game. You know what I mean? So I think Maycee Barber has a bright future ahead. It's just, She even said it, man. She's like, this is not how this thing was supposed to go. And guess what? We don't get to control our fates. We can only put in the work that we can and react to, what we can. We can't control, things. Or we can't trip off the things we can't control. You know what I'm trying to say. Last thing here, AJ, is the Maycee Barber, all that good stuff. Montana De La Rosa. I already said it's been very up and down career for her. She's 12-7-1. If you look at her last fights, lost against Maycee Barber, win against Lipsky, draw to Bueno Silva, lost to Araujo, win against Romero Bahela, lost to Andrea Lee. Then she had a big submission streak before that, man. Do you think she will inevitably get back on track? Like that's the big question for me. Can she put together a streak here? Does she have to stay in that zone of I'm only going to fight the kind of B-level, B-tier fighters? Because when she's fighting the A-level fighters, she's pretty much dropping those wins. So what do you think?
I think she will, man. And if the Ariane Lipsky fights anything, I think if she stays in that kind of style, where almost unexpected, I think Montana De La Rosa can deliver, because Ariane Lipsky, she has now become more of that lower level A tier fighter. So there's the window. I can see the steps to being taken for Montana De La Rosa. Yeah. But you're right. She does suffer with some big names, especially, the Andrea Lees, the Viviane Araújos, all those names. But I do think she has what it takes to push herself past that. You know what I'm saying? So I think she can do better. And
listen, she's only 27 years old. So I think as long as she sticks around, man, the future is bright for both of these fighters. It's just unfortunate that they had to match up already right now. Big win by Maycee, the future Barber.